In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 ways how to create a chord progression if you can't play the keyboard. So in the intro of the video, the music you heard, the chords were generated by AI. That's the third method, but let's start at the beginning. So the first way is the manual way, and that is by looking up chords and chord progressions on the internet. So the website that I use for chords is pianochord.org, where you can select different keys and you can see the different chords. They have all the different inversions and variations of common chords. And then the other website I often use is pianokeyboardguide.com with hyphens in between. I will link to all these websites in the description, of course. So on this website, you can search by key. So these are the key chords in the key of D major. There's some info there, and then there's visualizations on the piano keyboard of all the main chords. And then if you scroll down, it also writes down here common chord progressions in the key of D major, like 1, 4, 5, D, G, A, for instance. And then basically put them in Ableton. So let's do that. Here in Ableton, I loaded up a preset, the 80s tape for the drift synthesizer. So let's say we want to have the chords D, G, A in the key of D major. So if we go to the MIDI clip, let's enable the scale. So let's turn this on. Let's select D major, and then this button here says scale. So that basically means that you only see the notes in the scale of D major now on the piano roll. And if we do that, let's draw in a D, an F, and an A. So this is D major, and now we can just create D, G major, A major. Let's repeat it one more time. So we have a 4-bar loop. So that sounds like this. Very basic. If you just randomize the notes and transform it to create a bit more variation, create a bit of a strum effect. So this is just a very manual way of, if you can't actually play the chords and you need to look them up, this is a good way just to use these 2 websites. And now if you want to say, like, I want to create a bit more elaborate chords, for instance, we can go to pianochord.org, go to D. I want to add a more complex chord, so a D major 7, a D, F sharp, A, and a C sharp. So you're basically having to add the C sharp. So going to Ableton, we can add a C sharp to our first chord. And now we have a D major 7, G major, A major chord. Yeah, so that's basically the first method. Moving on to method number 2, and that is a quite obvious one, I would say, and that is to get inspired by your favorite artists. So basically look up the chord progressions that a song that you like has, and then take those chords, not necessarily in the same tempo, not necessarily in the same, with the same rhythm, but you can take the same chords and still make your own sound out of it. So for instance, let's take Californication by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. One of the websites you can use for this is chordify.net. You can find a lot of songs here. So as you can see here on the right, song details, the tempo is 97, the key is A minor, and the chords that appear are A minor, F, D minor, and G. And as you can hear in the beginning, it varies between 2 chords, A minor, F, and then later the other chords come into play. So let's put these ones into Ableton. So I have a new MIDI track, the same drift preset. Since we know that the key is A minor, we're going to enable the scale here and also on top. And then we can just create an A minor and then an F and then duplicate that. Randomize the velocities, and let's also strum, enable the strum. So very basic. Let's add some bass as well. We put the bass MIDI clip also on A minor. Let's start This is a 2-bar loop, so I go to, and then maybe in the end we gonna get a bit creative. Let's lower the volume a little bit. And as you can see, I'm not trying to replicate the rhythm or the way the Red Hot Chili Peppers play these chords. I'm just gonna take the chords and then create my own rhythm and my own sort of vibe, different sounds, different rhythms, different tempo. We're now at 120 BPM, maybe lower this a little bit to 110. So that is method number 2. Just get inspired by a song that you like in some way, and not trying to replicate the song, but just look up the chord progression. Sometimes you can also take a part of a chord progression, or you just take the chord progression, but you change the chords by adding a 7th or inverting them, or maybe you add extra chords to sort of extend the progression. There are many different possibilities. And then on to the third method, how you can easily generate chords and chord progressions if you don't know how to play the piano keyboard, and that is by using AI. The plugin I've been using is called AI Chords by a company from Germany called DB Done. They gave me this software to test it out. There's a promo code in the description, Klankabal30. You will get 30% off if you purchase one of their different packages. And the track that I came up with the chords generated by this plugin sounds like this. And so on. So let me show you how I created this. So here on the first MIDI track, you can see a bunch of chords, and open the plugin. Actually, what I wrote down as a prompt is enthusiastic and summer, and I choose the key of D, and it prompted these 4 chords that you see here in the MIDI clip in Ableton. There's a bunch of different settings I will go through in a bit. And then once you have them here in Ableton, you can just use them. You can also, of course, change them as you want. In the plugin, there's also the option to add a bass, so you can include the bass or leave it or split it. And so this is the bass that is generated. It's basically the root note of the chord. And then for the rest, I added drums to it and some noise. So let's now say we want to keep the sound, we want to keep the drums, we just want to create a different type of chord. So let's go into Ableton and remove the chords that we have now and generate some new ones. Let's remove all the MIDI, open up the plugin, and now let's choose a different key. So maybe the key of G. And as a prompt, I'm going to say mysterious, and dark. The number of chords is 4. Let's generate. And there's a play button, so we can, even though this is a MIDI channel, there's no sound on this MIDI channel. Let's hear what they come up with. The cool thing is that you now can change the length. So you can say, I want to make this 2, this 3, this 3, so that's 6, 7, 8. I'll leave that at 4. There's some other settings down here I'm not going to bother with. I want the bass as well, because I want it to be split, because I want to have a different bass instrument. So now let's just drag it to channel 2 and 3. Import the tempo. I don't want to change the tempo of this track, so no. And now we have these chords. You see they also play a different velocity, so that's nice. Otherwise I have to randomize it here. And you see also the times, or the start times of the notes is not exactly on the beat. You know, it's a bit different, so that's cool. And then if you go to the bass track, I wonder if the bass is in the right key, or in the right octave. I lowered the bass one more octave because I want it to be very low. And if you look at the keys in the chords, the loop is on, so let's loop these and let's add the rest of the stuff to it. My drums were fitting the chord, so now I have to adjust the drums a little bit because now there's a space where there's no snare, so that doesn't really work. So let's change that a bit. Let's add this snare back. Oh wait, the total length is 3 bars. That's why that's a bit off. Let's extend this chord in the end. And now I have to adjust the bass as well, of course. Let's also silent this kick. Yeah, this is a little bit of an odd one with the drums, but I kind of like it because, well, I wanted something that's mysterious. So now the drum rhythm is a little bit off. It's a bit different, so I kind of like it. But as you can see, it's very easy to generate chords. You can adjust the length. There's some other settings that I didn't really go in, but it's at least a fun way and a quick way to come up with something. And then once you have the MIDI in Ableton, just in your MIDI clip, you can do all the MIDI tools and all the changes that you want. So it's really, as with any of these 3 methods, it's a really good way to get started and to come up with something that you might not come up with yourself, especially if you don't know how to play. If you know how to play, you can just improvise and you play around. But if you're making chords with your mouse in Ableton, like I often do, it's much more difficult to get sort of happy accidents and little ideas. So if you think the stuff with the AI plugin was interesting, check out DB Done, promo code in the description. As always, keep making music. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.